What a weekend of rugby. Tim, how are you? Good to be back for our second episode. We're going to do this one a bit different and try put some slides and background images in it and
Yes,
see
we'll
how
we'll
that
we'll
does.
we'll improve as much as we can every week.
Well, it
And
is only our second episode. Maybe by our 10th episode, we'll be as popular as Joe Rogan.
no, we'll be better.
Yeah,
All
so we
right.
got a lot to go over. I think we'll start with a review of round one, a preview of round two. Maybe talk a bit about URC. Maybe talk about a bit about Trickers du Plessis, our South African MMA champion, and just go over some news. So I don't know if you're ready, but we can just jump straight into it.
Yeah, let's go.
So the first game of the weekend was Ireland and England. I can't remember what our predictions was, but as far as I remember, both of us were hoping that England were going to win it. But the final score was 27-22.
Look, we all. I was really thinking that this was going to be England's year. I think they were their own worst enemy on the day. Um, Individual brilliance here and there. Um, they messed up my Super Brew on week one.
Hmm.
But yeah, let's break it down.
So to me, England did very, very well for the first 50 minutes. I mean, 5-0, not 1-5. They had Ireland under the pump, and it looked like it was going to be a dub for England. But yeah, ultimately, I just don't think that the bench had the impact that I thought it was going to have. Marcus Smith looked brilliant at 10, but yeah, when he moved back to 15, I just felt like, yeah. In all honesty, I think the game was lost in 15 minutes. There was a period where England were conceding penalties. And Ireland just took full advantage of it. The new kid, Caden Murley, made some silly errors, and then Ireland just took advantage of that and changed the whole momentum of the game.
The one thing,
But
yeah, I have to agree with that. I think this is where, for me, the southern and northern hemispheres differ. The northern
yeah,
hemispheres have an exceptional 15 players that start, but their
yeah,
benches are average at best. When you look
yeah,
at, especially teams South Africa, New Zealand,
yeah,
even Argentina, the seven players or the 8 players that they have on the bench come up and they could have been starting players in the first place.
yeah, and
I think the depth is. I think the European sides are battling a lot with quality depth, and I
yeah,
think the development is not on point compared to the Southern Hemisphere teams.
yeah. I think England had good players, on the bench. I just don't think they had the impact that they were hoping for. I mean, they had players like Chandler Cunningham South, Ollie Chesham, Tom Willis, who's getting a start this weekend, but we'll get to that. And I just think when they came on, they just, I mean, Chandler Cunningham South is one of the best up and coming players. I really, really like the guy, but he just didn't. Uh, I just felt like he didn't add that value, that he should have. But yeah, I think focusing on the positives, the Curry brothers looked very good. I mean, Tom
Yeah,
Curry, and I mean, we were giving them a lot of shit in the previous episode,
yeah.
but
I was really hard on them. I was really hard on them, but
but
they were the
yeah,
only two that really looked like they had the
yeah,
momentum to go 80 minutes.
100%, especially Tom Curry. I mean, he had the most breakdown steals in round one, with three of them. Ben Curry made 18 tackles. I mean, Tom Curry also had a try. He was just brilliant. I know that we were chatting on our rugby WhatsApp group, and I still mentioned that we were giving the Curry brothers so much shit, and they were just looking like monsters.
Yes.
No, Marcus Smith, he looked very, very good, for the period that he did look good for, and then he wasn't looking that good anymore. But I mean, he also had a yellow card, which wasn't completely his fault. Um, so he was just, I mean, there was just too many warnings.
Yes.
But I feel very sorry. If there's one player I really do still feel sorry for, it's Caden Murley. The debutant. I mean, he came off. He had a very, very good start. He scored a try, and then he just conceded. He made some stupid mistakes. He conceded a penalty that eventually led to a try. If I'm not mistaken, I'll go back and have a look. Um, But yes, yeah, very very sad.
But again, I'm coming back to the development though.
Yeah,
So it's very difficult to have somebody debut against Ireland.
yeah,
It was always gonna be that game, you know. I mean, you're
yeah,
in the Six Nations. You've got weaker sides.
yeah,
You as England, you're playing Italy, playing Wales, which
yeah,
is not on form, and even to an extent Scotland. You know, start him
yeah.
against it. Now you go start him against one of the top tier
Yeah,
nations
the
currently in World Rugby.
second, yeah, second ranked team, and you're 100% right. And actually, I hope he's not too hard on himself because he did score a try. He had a try assist. And what you're saying is correct. He was debuting against the number two ranked team in the world in their own backyard, you know, and eventually just crumble under pressure. And I do think with some time he will be a regular in the England setup.
No, definitely. Look, he has to be hard on himself because he has to learn
Yeah,
from the mistakes. If he's not hard on himself, he's not
yeah,
going to learn from his mistakes.
yeah,
Unfortunately, this is the thing with rugby is that although the development might be wrong, England and your top tier nations don't have a shortage of rugby players.
hundred
Your
percent,
margin for error is small. If he's not going to be
hundred
hard on
percent.
himself and go and look
Yeah,
back on himself, he's
yeah,
not going to be a better player tomorrow. Yeah,
yeah,
he needs to
hundred
be hard on
percent.
himself. He needs to, but he also needs to get behind himself
Yeah,
and back himself and say, okay, you
yeah,
know, messed up. How do we fix it?
yeah.
Where did I make
Yes,
mistakes and stuff, and
yes,
move
yes.
on.
Yeah. Well, there is a lot of that game that he can take out of and be proud of. You know, I think he is he's lucky to get injured because I think he would have been dropped. They England obviously have a very very important game coming up, but I do foresee him making another appearance in the Six Nation if his injury isn't too bad, which I'm not too sure what the extent of is.
Yes, no, when we've got more info on that, we'll definitely share.
Yeah. Well, another player that looked very, very good, probably one of the best 13s of round one, was Ollie Lawrence. Ollie Lawrence was a machine. He was an absolute defense carrying machine. He was good on defense. He was carrying like a monster. Um, unfortunately, I don't think he did get a try, but he was really, really good. Yeah, and England team as a whole actually have a few things that they can take positives from this game. It wasn't a complete thrashing. They clawed back with two tries in the last 10 minutes. I think the last try was when the clock was in red. One of those tries, you know, probably a bit of a lucky try, but the other one was a very good hard work try. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm coming back to what I said earlier. I think England were their own
yeah.
worst enemy. I
Yeah,
think I think they should have done better
yeah,
and capitalized more. And again, that's what Ireland did. Ireland capitalized when they needed
yeah,
to. England did it.
100%. And I mean, England was very good on the eyeball. They had, the defense in the first 50 was very good. There was a passage of play, or there was where Ireland were just on the try line, and they just could not score. England were just keeping them out. Time after time after time. I think there was one where just before the try line, I'm not sure if it was Tom Cuddy or who it was. Had a turnover ball. I just feel like the defense was very good until it wasn't. Then it was a few silly misreads and missed tackles, and that just allowed Ireland to score and change the game.
But if I look back a couple of months when they played South Africa end of year,
Yeah,
again they really looked like they were in the game, and then
yeah,
just all of a sudden, it's like England's trying to play 50, 55 minutes, and then they
yeah.
just fall out of the bus.
Yeah, I actually read or listened to a very interesting thing on a podcast the other day where they said um, England is the good team that a good team want to play if you want to win, and I think that's actually sums them up. But yeah, like I said, the defense was brilliant until it wasn't. I mean, and coming back to Chandler coming south, I hope I'm saying that correctly. I mean, usually a beast. James Lowe had a try, where James Lowe literally just slipped past Shannon coming south. It was a
But it's also you can't really bring that into account because again he was supposed to come in as an impact player,
yeah,
and He came in. England was already on the back foot at that stage. You can take any world-class player and put them in that same position, and they probably would have ended up in a similar
But
result.
I feel like sometimes, well, I think the reason you put a strong bench out, like what South Africa is renowned for doing, is that when the game slips, you are hoping that they come in and they change the momentum, like what happened against us. Funny enough, against England in the semi-finals of the World Cup, where I feel like they were pumping us, and then the likes of Erges Snyman, came off the bench and it really changed the momentum, brilliant form, Erges Snyman. Just a side note there, brilliant form.
All right.
Yeah, then the next team that we need to speak about, obviously, Ireland side. First things first. My opinion, I can get hated for this, but Pendergast is not ready and is not that great. I know that he was supposed to be the new Johnny Sexton. To me, he was shite. He missed a few kicks. Um, the whole momentum also. We can blame the momentum switch on multiple things, but when Crowley came up, the Ireland backline looked like a different beast.
I think I initially said in our first episode, I said Crowley is the one that I would have started.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, Pendergast could have been the one that could have cost Ireland the game. But then I'm also looking at it from a different perspective. Marcus
Yeah.
Smith was hot and cold. Pendergast was
Yeah.
hot and
Yes, it
cold.
was.
So the two teams that we expected to have the fly-offs that
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
didn't have the fly-offs on form.
Uh,
Their fly-offs looked average.
I just feel like there was all this hype about Pendergast and it really didn't live up to it. And yes, you're right. A very good player can have a very bad game. It happens. But I don't know. I think England was targeting him. That was obvious. Tom Curry gave him a few hard hits, but at times it just looked like he didn't want to be on the field anymore. And I don't know. Maybe he'll be good. I don't know. We haven't seen the team releases for Ireland versus Scotland. Maybe they back him. And maybe it proves me wrong, like Ireland proved me wrong in the previous episode.
Yeah, I
Um,
suppose. I suppose.
James Lowe, I hate to say it, it hurts me to say this because he is a cocky asshole. I don't like him, but he was brilliant. He was world class. He had the most line breaks 11, most meters gained out of round 1, 122.3, most meters carried 167.9. I hate to say it, he is cocky, but he played phenomenal. He should have been man of the match. For some reason, Jamison Gibson Park, the scrum after it looks like he should be playing for Pakistan. He was man of the match, and I just felt like James Lowe. I don't know how we overlooked him. He was brilliant.
That's the problem with James Lowe. James Lowe is I think it's just because he's always in the face. He's always in the face of the opposition.
Yeah.
He's always,
Yeah.
something goes right. He's always smiling. He's always, smirking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a frustration. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure the Ireland fans love it because he plays for Ireland, but the rest of the teams don't like him. In general, we,
Yeah.
we really don't like him. And it's not because of rugby per se. It's primarily because um his demeanor on the field. He doesn't
Yeah.
come across as a nice person. And put him in an Ireland team 10, 15 years ago, that guy would have been punched every single match.
100%. But one of the good examples of Ireland's very good try, James Lowe's very, very good play is where, he set up the first try for Jamison Gibson Park, Um, Alex Mitchell sort of slides off of him. Again, all honesty, Alex Mitchell should have tackled him a bit lower. Alex Mitchell is much smaller than James Lowe, and if you tackle a big guy like that, you tackle him low. But still, brilliant footwork from Jamison Gibson Park, to make the try. But yeah, um, once again, James Lowe was brilliant. You cannot take that away from him.
No, not at all. I have to agree with that.
Kalen Doris was quiet, seeing that he's the best 8 in the world, apparently, was pretty quiet game for him. Dan Sheenan looked good coming off the bench. He just came off of an injury, ACL injury, if I'm not mistaken, and he looked good. He scored a try. Let's see if I can get the video of that. But yeah, it was. I feel. Yeah, he scored the fourth try for Ireland. Um, uh, and again, off of
Again off
James Lowe.
James Lowe. That
Of
was the
Ken.
big thing. It's again off James Lowe.
Yeah, James
And
Lowe assisting, giving the ball to Dan Sheenan, and Dan Sheenan just running straight through.
yes,
Yeah, you know,
did
I
did
think.
what hookers do, just like through the middle and head down.
Yeah, just yeah. Ireland, I think, are thinking. Once again, I know it seems like we're hating a bit on Ireland. Ireland are a brilliant team. There's no denying that they are a top tier nation. They are deservedly in the second place. Is their form dipping? I still think so, even with this win. I think Ireland are thinking a bit short term with the age of some of the players in their backline, and they're not developing a lot of young players. Okay, they're trying Pendergast, but I mean, yeah, you look
I
like
think again we're coming. Do they have 23 young players that they could have gone and said, listen, guys, thank you for participating in the last Gold Cup. We didn't reach the quarterfinal again, or we didn't get past the quarterfinal again,
yeah,
and go and say. So it's, me and you had the discussion earlier in the week,
yes,
and
yes,
again, it comes down to this. Ireland have always played a good brand of rugby. England
yep,
have always played a good brand of rugby.
beautiful attacking,
When the French get going, they play a good brand of rugby. Scotland on the day can surprise. I mean, back in the
yeah,
day, Wales played a good brand of rugby. The
yeah,
problem is it's inconsistent rugby.
yeah,
They are not producing, for example, what the Hemisphere teams are producing.
yeah.
And
For
and
how
and
long?
to call yourself
Yeah,
a rugby nation and oh we're number two in the world, that doesn't mean anything. Again, I know, and probably as a South African, people are not going to like this, but again, you don't have World Cups. Literally the
yeah,
only team in the existence of the Rugby World Cup, and that's going to be 40 years by the next World Cup. That's 40 years of Rugby World Cups.
yeah. You
The Northern
see,
Hemisphere has only won it once,
yeah, yeah.
which
Well
was
done, England.
England.
Yeah. So you see, before we move on to the next game, you look at James Lowe, and he's deep in his 30s, Bandiaki deep in his 30s, Gary Ringers, I think he's 30 now. Then you think for yourself before people think we just uh, picking on them. You look at people like Bandiaki, who is his replacement? Robbie Henshaw. Robbie Henshaw is also in his 30s. And when's the last time Ireland have played anyone, on the 12th, except Robbie Henshaw or Bandiaki, um, like even in games that they sort of were gonna win, So I don't know. I just feel like Ireland
I think
should be developing a bit more.
I think they're way behind, and I don't think bringing in a young fly-off is going to solve. And I
Yeah,
think they need to step away from this mentality because Ireland have always had greats. You had Ronan O'Gara back in the day. You had Ryan O'Driscoll, an outside centre back, 26th, back in the day. You had Tommy Bowen wing back in the day. World. They need
yeah,
to stop bringing in the younger players and then going and saying, okay,
yeah,
oh, he's the next Johnny Sexton. You can't do that because he's not.
hundred
He's the
percent.
current Pendergast, or current Crowley,
Yeah,
or whatever.
very very good
Comparing
way.
them to legends of the game is not going to really help them. It's the same if
Mm,
we as South Africans go and say, oh, Steven Kutsoff is going to be the next Osdirant, or
yeah,
Oxenche is going to
hundred
be.
percent.
You can't do that because different eras of playing, different styles of playing, and all that. You need to take that into account.
Yeah, 100%.
I
Um,
sometimes feel that a lot of the Irish fans are a bit
yeah,
deluded in their happy brain.
yeah,
Don't really, it's almost like they think this team is going to play, until they 950 years old and still be ranked number two in the world. They went into
yeah,
the World Cup, last year, the year
yeah,
before, or yeah, they went in and you know were
yeah,
ranked
hundred
one in the
percent.
world and
Yeah,
didn't do anything.
yeah. You see, also, I'm sorry, we keep on saying we're going to move on from this game, and we're going to move on from this game again. Something I completely forgot to mention is how England were really not getting the rub of the green when it was coming to the ref. So I'll give you a few small and we are South Africans. It's in our blood to complain about referees. And I really like Ben O'Keefe. But I feel like this was not the best game he had. I know a lot of the calls. I actually heard that they're saying a lot of the calls are coming from the assistant referee, but still, at this level, it should not be happening. The first one, and I'll play a clip of it, is when Mauro Itoje was penalised for pushing a player. Now, if you see the clip, it was in the line out. Danshin overthrows it. Genji runs with it. Makes a knacker carry there. They get called back, do a playback, and then Itoje puts his hand like he touches the player. It barely touches the player, and it gets called as a
Look, Ben O'Keefe needs to retire as a referee.
Yeah.
He had a lot of bad games in his
Yeah.
career. I don't even rank him in the top 50 refs in the world.
Yeah.
And he really isn't a good ref. He really isn't a consistent ref. And being a New Zealander, he needs to be.
Yeah.
He needs to. It's a disgrace. New Zealand
Yeah.
have in general produced top quality referees
Yeah.
throughout the years. Ben O'Keefe was a failure. He needs to retire. He needs to stop. He needs to stop officiating games.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of the things we can go back as South Africans and say 2023 World Cup. The matches that he blew, yes, we didn't complain about it because it went our way. But there was one or two calls that shouldn't
Yes.
have gone our way, and
Yeah.
it was the same referee. So big matches call for big temperament referees, and Ben O'Keefe is not. Ben O'Keefe is
Yeah.
a club officiating referee.
I disagree in a bit because I really like him. I just think that this was not his best game. But yes, a lot of people share the same sentiment that you do, especially people that are not South African because they say that he helped us win the World Cup. Russia helped us win that World Cup. But yes, I agree with you. There was another incident where there was a whole bunch of run-ins, as they call it, ricking and plicking, pushing each other. And Benekif made it very clear the next run-in is a card. And through his nuts, coming self, one day I'll say it right. I can't remember, take some player out of the air, I can't remember what. And James Lowe runs in and just once more, no more runs in. No, he doesn't go back on his previous warning. Um, there's a Tom Curry I tackle. Now this one is a bit arguable for me. I'll bring it up. It's a bit arguable because Kalen Doris tackles Tom Curry. Kalen Doris is completely bent, but still, I just feel like this is a call that could have and maybe should have been looked at a bit.
Unfortunately, the rules are clear. There was head contact. He could have been lower than that. You know,
Yeah,
when you learn, I don't think, in my opinion, that Tom Curry is that
yeah,
low.
yeah,
It was, shoulder to face. That is a yellow card that needs to be put
yeah.
under review. You
I
know,
would have I would have liked if they at least looked at it a bit. It just feels like it came up on the big screen and then just move on. Maybe just have a TMO because the TMO stopped the game for everything else. You could have probably stopped for that.
no, but he
Uh,
wouldn't stop it because then it would clearly show that it's a yellow card.
yeah. Second game, Scotland versus Italy. I can't remember our prediction on this one. I think we
Well, we
probably
did
had
say
Scotland.
Scotland, but I
We're
think
gonna
we did
win.
say Scotland by a bit more, though.
A bit more. I think the final score was 31-19. Obviously, Scotland scoring 31 points to Italy's 19. Finn Russell was not good. I like Finn Russell. To me, Finn Russell was not good. He had some stupid offloads. He knocked the ball on right from the try line. He had one stupid pass that he passed straight into the Italian center. I'll remember his name in 2 seconds.
Yeah, but
Straight into his hands. It was an intercept, and that led to Italy's first try. Um, so
But like our first episode, I clearly said I feel
yeah,
Finn Russell is playing a lot of his rugby for his reputation. I just don't
yeah,
see the big problem that Scotland have is who's the
yeah.
10 that's going to replace him.
Yeah. And look, I like Finn Russell. I just feel like sometimes he's trying to be this unpredictable, edgy player, and I think it's costing Scotland a lot of the times. I just feel like sometimes just try and do the basics good before you try and be this.
You know,
Um,
coming back to that, and I'm gonna use James Lowe as an example. I'm gonna use Van Russell as an example. Um, I think what for me European rugby, especially on international level, lack is
Yeah,
the modesty and the stuff. I mean, you look at a player like Bandiaki. Bandiaki doesn't showboat. He goes,
yeah,
he makes the tackles, he scores a try, gets up, he team congratulates him. You know,
yeah,
it's like they lost honor in their rugby, and it's become about this hairdo kind of mentality. Who's got the
yes,
best hairdo and stuff like that, and they need to get away from that because it's really actually sickening to rugby. I
yeah,
mean, you look at the warm ups where Finn Russell was up kicking post and stuff, and he was on his phone listening to music and all that stuff.
yeah,
I don't have a problem with that
yeah,
per se, but bring the honor back. You know, don't act
yeah,
like you're the best thing that happened. You
yeah,
know, especially considering you're not probably even considered at the moment in the top 5 to 8 fly-offs in
yeah,
the world. You know, just chill out a bit. You're not up there anymore. You know,
mm,
bring back the modesty, bring back the humbleness, bring back the honor that
yeah,
that was in European rugby.
yeah.
Um, and
Us, us,
they lost that.
yeah. I saw a funny meme where Finn Russell, they say he was on his phone translating things to Afrikaans so that he can communicate better with his team. um, But yeah, Finn Russell aside, Hugh Jones looked very good. He wasn't, for me, he wasn't the man of the match, but he was very good. He had a hat trick. You know, I think that's probably why he got edged for man of the match. Very, very good. You know, not taking anything away from him. Rory Dodge looked brilliant, and he's making a statement for that British and Ireland's Lion shirt. And in my opinion, he should have been man of the match. You know, I've a lack a clip of him. You know, making a turnover. So yeah, Rory Dodge was really a brilliant player for me on the day. Um, should Italy have won with Scotland won with a bit more probably with some of these star players that they had. They had Blair King on that looked great. He had 18 tackles. He had 159.4 meters made, 110 meters gained. Xander Ferguson
But
looked
again,
good.
just to interrupt there. Sorry,
Yeah,
Blair King on plays for Toulouse.
yeah.
He
Yes,
looks
yes,
good
yes.
at Toulouse, and now everybody's going like, "Oh, he's a star player." He looks good at Toulouse because he's playing with basically the French backline.
Yeah,
So it's very hard, and this is where it comes in again. You know, um, i you look at it. Duan van der Merwe played rugby for. Okay,
yeah,
he would not make the international side
yeah,
at the moment. You look at Blair
yeah,
Kinghorn. Blair Kinghorn is there because he looks good in his Toulouse jersey. Now,
yeah,
I don't rate him as a bad player, but I mean, look at somebody like Hugh Jones. Hugh Jones again is like the Bundy Aki of Scotland. You know, he puts in the miles, he puts in the yardage, he puts in the stuff. I feel Blair Kinghorn, I feel Finn Russell, I feel a lot of them are playing rugby on past reputation. I don't
yeah.
think I think Duan van der Merwe has moments of brilliance, but I don't think he's one of the best wingers in the
Yeah.
world.
Well, I liked Blair King on. I like him in general. I liked him in this game. Xander Ferguson also looked very good. He had 16 carries. Darcy Graham, you know, the Scottish wing looked. You know, there was an argument that he should have probably been man of the match. But coming back to Duan van der Merwe, you're 100% you know correct. Duan van der Merwe, you know, he scored a beautiful try. Um, well, I don't think he scored. I think it was a try assist, but still, it was beautiful. Yes, Hugh Jones actually scored that try, but yeah, it was just a beast moment from Duan van der Merwe, and there was a few of them actually. You know, there was that one. There was another moment where he just carried like a beast in the corner. You know, the Scotland were going, you know, passing the ball out to him, and he just. I think it took Caputo to take him down eventually, but he was just yeah.
But again, if you looking at that clip, there was no reason for him not to pass that ball.
Yeah, yeah. I think he is. I think he has a lot of quiet games. You know, and I said it in the previous episode. He's. There's the Six Nations season 2 is out now. And apparently, I think I saw a clip of him where he says that you know, when he doesn't feel good, he doesn't play good or something along the line of that. So he admits that he knows that he's. But I think he has the ability to be world class every single game. You know, especially, he likes to play very good against England. But yeah, I think he looked good this game, and I'm hoping that he keeps that form for the rest of the Six Nations.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't have any hope for Scotland to do anything, and I know it sounds mean when I say it. I just can't see Scotland going
Yeah,
and at the end of the day ending
yeah,
up making anything. Um,
yeah,
I can't see them beating any one of the top three sides at the moment.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I think, I think they'll probably end up. Probably fourth in this one. I hope they do better. I honestly hope they do better. I think Scotland will be the one team that will be really, really happy to see winning the Six Nations, and I don't think it's impossible. I think they have a bit of a discipline issue. There was a stage where Scotland was 19-0 to Italy, and then they just conceded penalties and just allowed Italy to come back into the game with penalty kicks. So yeah, I think Scotland's got a bit of a discipline issue. But yeah, Italy looked good. Italy had blitz defense that looked very, very good at stage. They had a lot of dominant tackles. They looked very, very physical. Sebastian Negri, I have to say that right before we get banned, looked good with 26 tackles, most in the first round. And I think the center pairing in Italy is probably one of the best, if not the best, in the Six Nations round one. Manancello and Brex. Brex scoring the only try for Italy, coming off of a stupid Finn Russell mistake. But seriously, that's a very, very good.
yeah, I feel we can give all the compliments and say, oh, the combinations look good and oh this,
Yeah,
but let's face it, Italy was nowhere in that.
yeah,
I think they were put in the game because of mistakes Scotland made.
yeah. I
I
think,
think if Scotland pitched up the way France pitched up in their game, I
yeah,
honestly think that that Scotland would have also won, and I don't think
yeah.
Italy would have.
I just don't think it's the same. I don't think they definitely are the top three Six Nations teams, but I think they are much better than they used to be. Um, they're not that shit wooden spoon team. Unfortunately, that is Wales at the moment. But I mean, they had a good scrum. There's some good signs in the team. Let's put it that way. There's some good signs. Obviously, still a lot of work to be done. But yeah, they're looking better than they looked a few years ago. Talking about France and Wales, that was the last game. I'll be honest with you. I watched the first half. I thought Wales put in a valiant effort in the first 20 minutes, and they gave us all hope. Not that they were going to win, but that they were going to get absolutely wrecked. Not going to get wrecked. I heard Anton de Plan played very well. I don't get me, don't get me wrong. He's a brilliant player, but I just feel like the Europeans still overhype him a bit. He would be doing the most basic things in the game. And the commentators should be losing their minds, which seems to be the norm when it comes to him. Once again, I'm not disputing that he's a brilliant player, but I still think he is very overrated in some instances.
I don't.
Best number nine
Look. I think is probably the best number 9 in the
in the
world
world, no
right
doubt,
now. But
no doubt.
has he done anything different than scrum offs in the past? Has he done anything different, for example, um, that any other world class scrum off? If you take Aaron Smith, you take Joos van der Westhuizen, you take a guy like George Gregan, you take
Yeah,
a guy like Perry Wipu, you can go through that whole list of world class scrum offs that play the game. Is he doing anything different or more extravagant than what
yeah,
they did? No, I think he's a good scrum off, but I don't think he's as good as commentators
yeah.
are hyping, and I don't think he's the best that ever played the game.
No, I don't think so. But like once more, I have to, he is very good. I just feel like even with how good he is, he still gets overhyped. It's just
Yeah.
like I said. It's just he will do the basicest things, and it'll just get completely blown out of proportion. But still, well done, France, 40-0. I think we actually said that was our exact.
Well,
There
we
was
said
43.
40 points,
It
and
was
I
43.
did say I don't think Wales are going to score any. Then well, so we did 100% right, and
Yeah,
the rest we got one pick right, but we didn't really,
yeah,
the Scotland Italy game went way too close for me, And if I was Scotland, I would have worried about that. I think
Yeah.
France are going to build off of this. Um, the matchup that's going to decide it again is going to be France.
Yeah.
The,
Interesting question for you. Sorry, Timo. Um, you think any of the Wales players makes it into? And I know this is a question that's been floating around, and I've seen some names. But do you think any of the Wales players make it into the British and Irish Lion team?
I would be very surprised, to be honest with you. I think if you basically take the Ireland side, you take the England side, you take the Scottish side, I don't see that they need any Welsh players
Yeah.
to make up any the
Yeah.
British and Irish Lions side.
One player for Wales that I have to say is very very good, and I just think it's very unfortunate that he plays in the position he plays in because there's a lot of competition in that position. As Jack Morgan, Jack Morgan is very good, but then he's going up against the likes of Josh van der Fleer, um, um, this guy from Scotland that I was mentioning a few minutes ago. And I just think that there's so many good loose forwards um, that you know that's competing for those jerseys. And I think unfortunately I don't think that Jack Morgan will be one of them, but. He is a very, very good. Rory Dodge is the name. Just came to me. He is a very good player. I feel a bit unfortunate that he plays in the position he plays in.
Yeah, I don't. I unfortunately, as growing up as a youngster, back when Neil Jenkins and those guys were still playing for for Wales, Wales were a formidable side. Wales
Mm,
for me, I just don't see a good future for them in the next five, 5 to 10 years. And their big problem is they need to get rid of the coach. I think the coach is
yeah.
the the mentality of the coach
He
is
should
wrong.
have. I don't know why Warren Gatland is getting such a long, so, or why is he so untouchable? I mean, it's not that Wales have been shit for a season. They've been shit for long. And sorry, we're gonna say it the way it is, but I agree with you 100%. I don't understand why Warren. Okay, he did some great things for Wales before, but that was years ago.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think he didn't adapt. I think that's the
yeah,
problem. He didn't
uh,
adapt. He's still
yeah,
trying to play the basic brand of rugby that made the Welsh
yeah,
good back in the day. The problem
yeah,
is the world of rugby, the modern era of rugby is adaptation. You
yeah,
know, I mean, look at what South Africa's doing. Look at what New Zealand's doing. Look at what the French are doing. Look at what Ireland are doing. Even England to an extent. It's that constant adaptation. You know, improving,
yeah.
changing the way they do replacements, you know, how they construct their benches and stuff like that. It's almost for me as if Wales have gone into this mentality of this is our game plan and it doesn't matter what in the world happens, this is what we're gonna
Yeah.
do. And then
Let's
they
move.
stick to it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's move into round two previews. I don't know how long we've been talking for. I think the previews will go a bit faster than reviews. But the first one I'd like to speak about is the Italy team. So you can note on the Italy team that Dino Lamb moves to the bench and Nicolo Canone moves to the starting 15. They do a little bit of a swap around. Simone Gacy drops out of the match at 23 and gets replaced by Jacopo Trullia.
Look,
Um,
I think this is probably gonna be the match that Italy would bank on winning.
it is the battle for the wooden spoon. You can say it, you can try and sugarcoat it, but ultimately that is what it is. If you look at the Wales team, Aaron Wainwright drops down to the bench and is replaced by Teolopo Falatu. Owen Watkin drops out of the match day 23 and is replaced by Eddie James. Only two changes to the starting 15 and one to the bench for Wales. So I just can't see that they'll do anything different.
Again,
Uh,
you look at Faletau on number 8, right? Faletau started his career, was brilliant. He breakthrough, eighth man. It was almost like everybody was gonna be like, yo, this kid's gonna do it. He's gonna
mm,
be the one that's probably gonna um end up, going there.
yeah,
And it just faded, and it's sad because I do think he's still got potential. But again, I mean, you look at the players that Wales have. They don't have excessively bad players. The players aren't horrible, but if you can't coach those players,
yeah.
and that's where I feel the problem comes in. I feel
Yeah.
it's lack of coaching, it's lack of proper coaching. It's a coaching staff that have no idea what they're doing, and that's
Yeah.
why Wales are in the position that they are in.
Prediction?
I think Ireland take it. Sorry, Italy take it. I think Italy's, but it's going to be close. But I think Italy's going to take it by a comfortable
Yeah.
10 points.
I'm going to go. I'm going to be. I don't think it's going to be as comfortable to me. I feel like Italy. They're playing at home. They're playing in the Stadio Olimpico, and I think that Italy is going to be confident. And beat Wales with at least 14-20. And I think Wales have absolutely no confidence. I think they could have taken some confidence out of that first 20 minutes in the game against France, but yeah, ultimately, I believe that it will be the Italy show in Rome.
Yes, definitely.
Then our second game will be England against France, which will be in South African time on 18:45 at Saturday, the 8th of February. So I've got the England team up in front of us. As you can see, welcome back, Jamie George. Jamie George, um, ex English captain. Very very experienced and seasoned hooker. So yeah, I think looks like they are still going to go for that impact bench. We've got Ben Earl moves from eighth man to seven. He'll be playing as a flanker. Tom Willis gets his first start in English jersey. Well deserved. I think he's a very good player. Finn Smith also gets his first start in an England jersey. Also brilliant player. I'm looking forward to see what he can do with that backline. Ollie Slaito moved into the match day 23 and replaces Caden Murray due to injury. Is it injury though? Like I said, Caden Murray mustn't be too hard on himself. But yeah, let's see. Marcus Smith moves to fullback set for me.
No, that's lost England the game there. I'm sorry to say, but
Yeah.
that's lost them the game.
So a lot of people are saying that that's what should have happened. That the two Smiths should both be starting, and I was seeing it everywhere on X/Twitter that people are excited for this. I just don't think it's the best idea. I think Marcus Smith is a brilliant 10. His defense isn't what it should be, and now you're putting him on 15. Where he is going to be, probably will be at many times the last line of defense. And then you're putting someone like Finn Smith, against a very, very volatile France side, and I know he has been capped for England before, but this is his first start. Um, you know, will he fold like Pendergast did, or will he make it? I don't know. I don't agree with Marcus Smith at fullback. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I hope that this is an upset and England show France a thing or two. I just I just don't think that
No,
was the right
I
call.
think France is winning this with 30 points.
Ben Curry moved down to the bench, which is he had a good game, I feel. So hopefully he can have that same intensity coming off the bench this time. Elliot Daly moves into the match at 23 from the bench. I've always liked Elliot Daly. Um, you know,
But
so
again, it's his age.
yeah, I
It's
hope
not
he's
it's not a viable player to have
yeah.
anymore.
5 changes to the starting 15 and 3 changes to the bench. Then we move over to the France side, which have made very few changes. So they actually had to make the most obvious one with Jalibert moving to 10 due to Intermac being a dirty player and copping a 2-match ban. I feel like there was tension between Jalibert and Galti since Jalibert refused to take part in the match between France and New Zealand in the Autumn Nation. Apparently, from what I've read, Jalibert was going to be put on the bench against New Zealand, and he refused to be a player on the bench, and he rather just went back to his club and refused to
Then
take part of that
I'm
game.
coming back to the honor thing that I said in the European rugby. You know, you, Anton Dupont, Cherrybert, you look at James Lowe and all these players thinking they're bigger.
100%. And you look at Sia Kulisi, between him and Ibanez, probably Sia Kulisi is our superstar when it comes to popularity of players in the Springbok in the setup. There's times that he doesn't get chosen and he'll be the water boy for the day.
Yes.
As long as he has some involvement in his team, that's just how we are. It's an honor for us to be wearing that green jersey. Doesn't matter if it's a number 1 to 15 or a number 16 to 23. It doesn't matter, and I agree 100% with you. But I was actually thinking that he was going to put Ramos at 10 and make a plan at 15. But yeah, Jalibert comes in. That dirty tackle from Intermac, I'm going to see if I can find a clip of it. But yes, that was just very bad, There'll be, in all honesty, I know a lot of people are talking like it was this massive loss. Intermac wasn't really having the best game, and just please before I get cancelled for saying that, I was only watching the first 40 minutes. I didn't watch the last 40 minutes. I did see that dirty tackle on I can't even remember which player it was, but yeah, it was a bad run from him, Then the Shark Slayer Damien Penaud returns to the from injury and starts at 14. Um, very very good player. Also I think I don't know if he's very cocky. To be honest with you, I don't know him well enough. I've just seen a lot of his tries, which there is plenty of. I did see Cheslin Colby beating him in a foot race in the quarterfinals. Yes. So, but Damien Penaud is a very, very good wing. There was arguments during the World Cup. I remember saying that he's the best wing in the world, which is not. But very, very good nonetheless. And then bench unchanged, and only 2 changes to the starting 15, which is obviously Penaud and Jalibert. Prediction.
I think France. I think France is going to take it easily.
I think France take it.
I think they're going to take it by about 30.
I do predict an upset in this round. I'll say it. I don't think Italy and Wales will be too much of an upset because what they're fighting over doesn't really matter that much. But I think between Scotland and Ireland, France and England, I do see an upset in this round. Whether it's England winning, beating France, or Scotland beating Ireland, I don't care. Either or would be a very good upset. I think, once again, I'll say it, I think England can do it. I really do. It's difficult to see where France is at because of how appalling Wales was, but yeah, I also have to say, if I'm a betting man, I'm putting money on it. I would say France by 14.
Yeah,
14
at
points.
least.
England do have home ground advantage, which is not that much.
I don't think it's going to be enough.
No, and it's also not that much of an advantage. A lot of people have gone to Twickenham and beat England there. But still, let's hope and see. Scotland versus Ireland, which will be the final game, of round 2.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be a quick discussion, as we are running a bit out of time. Look, based on last week's form, I don't think Scotland have enough to take on Ireland. I don't think they're gonna, I don't think they're gonna win. Probably gonna score a couple of tries, but I can't see them toppling Ireland.
Yeah. I think I'm interested to see if they back Prendergast again, and what changes Ireland, if any, they make. Scotland do also have home ground advantage. It's not easy to see Scotland winning this because Scotland don't generally do very well against Ireland. But like I said, I do foresee a upset, and I'm hoping that it's Scotland beating Ireland. And I honestly think that they can. We've spoken about it plenty of times. Ireland are a team on the downward slope, and Scotland is the complete opposite. And they're looking better in these last 2-3 years than they've looked in years. So I'm hoping that Scotland are able to get a dub. But once again, if I'm putting my money on it, I'm going to say Ireland by 10.
I'm going to say Ireland by at least 25.
Okay, to finish off, we've got the URC game on for the weekend, which is the Stormers, your team, Timo, against the Bulls, my second team. In the AHL Stadium in Cape Town. Any predictions? I haven't seen team announcements as yet at the time of recording, but I did read that there's going to be an upset or a change in teams, which will be the number 9. Apparently, Paul de Vet will not get chosen. I think they are going to go Stefan Anderger.
Yeah,
For that.
I don't think, I honestly just don't think the Stormers have the firepower at the moment. But the
Yeah.
Stormers in Cape Town's always going to be dangerous, so
100%, 100%, and I feel like the Stormers are a violent team when they want to be. I think with a backline like Manu Lebok, I know a lot of the players are injured, but with a backline like that, Warwick Galant, you know, um, Sasha is injured.
yeah, that's I think that's the thing that's going to cost the Stormers at the end of the day. It's
Yeah, 100%.
with too many injuries, I don't think we can up the front.
Yeah, the
Um,
Bulls do have, to me, the best forwards in the URC. I know that Leinster have unlimited amount of money and they bought Ergens Snyman and they've got players like Kalen Doris. But I honestly think that the Bulls are an unbelievably physical side. And I think that's exactly what they're going to bring on Saturday. Your prediction on that one?
I think it's going to be close, but I think the Bulls will take it by about 5.
I have to agree. I think the Bulls will edge it. As a neutral, I don't mind which side it goes to. I actually hope the Bulls win because in the South African Shield, I see that the Stormers are on top. So the Bulls can do it. So the Sharks a favor, which is my team, and knock them down. Then
Yeah,
on news, I think let's close off with news. I see my Pimpy gets banned for an eye gouge. Your thoughts on that?
I think it is here and there. I don't think it's something that's deserved of a ban. I don't think it was. I don't think there was clear enough evidence of it. To be brutally honest, um, I think I think Papimpi is unlucky, and I feel he was a victim of a society. Because I mean, if that's gonna be constitute a ban, then Kylan should also get a ban for his tackle against England.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that I think it's a bit unfair. I feel like not unfair. An eye gouge is a ban. That's fine. You can see him putting it, but I don't think he was purposefully doing it. And I feel like it's going to happen. It's a very
I
big
feel
loss.
it was a brush off or a push.
Yeah,
Although you're not allowed to push in the face, I get that, but
yeah,
I feel it was a brush off or a push that probably did go a bit wrong.
yeah.
I think it's a harsh call. Um, but at the end of the day, rugby isn't what it was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I was just about to say. It feels like, and once again, it feels like you're taking jabs on the Europeans, but it feels like they're making this game very soft. I think it's a physical sport, and if you're going to be tackling the shit out of someone, every now and again you are going to be up in their faces. The last bit of news: Joe Schmidt leaves after the rugby championship this year, which is sad to me because I feel like he was getting the Wallabies to a much better place than what Eddie Jones left them, and he could have potentially gotten them to a much better place if he had more time. They almost beaten Ireland in the Autumn Nation series. The Wallabies had a good Autumn Nation. They almost beat Ireland. I think technically they should have won that game. They smashed Wales. They beat England. They ran New Zealand very close in one game in the Rugby Championship. So I think they were definitely a team on the rise.
I think it's a loss. I think it's a loss. I think Australia is in a very tricky position with politics in their rugby now.
Mm,
And until that's been resolved, I can't see Australia being a dominant force like we were seeing them a couple of years. I think there's a lot of politics, and situations like these just show that there's a lot of politics. I think Eddie Jones at the moment is on a destruction path. Used to be a brilliant coach, but
very good.
much like Gatlin, he's a dated coach. He hasn't brought anything new to World Rugby, into a team to say, listen, okay, this structure we are playing isn't working. Adapt to a new structure. We're going to try some new things. He hasn't done that. It's with Eddie Jones, with Warren Gatlin. It's the same thing over and
Yeah,
over and over, and teams pick up on it too quickly. And
yeah,
I think Schmidt is a big loss for Australia. Um, but
Yeah, indeed.
I do think we'll see who they put in.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very interesting.
Maybe they're
Who will
gunning.
take the reins?
Maybe they're gunning for Rossi.
I don't think they can afford him. But yeah, thank you guys for watching our show. Sorry if we offended your team, which we probably most likely have. You will work on
Yes, we'll work on offending more.
it.
All
Cool.
right,
Bye
guys.
bye.
Yes, yes.
Thanks. Bye.